Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about some of the adjustments that I've been making to my cleans and snatches. It's a little bit of adjustments and some of the adjustments that I plan on making as I move forward into continuing to do them, because they're something that are very technical and very difficult to do. So for me, a lot of the progress that I will make with them will be with my technique, and that will add weight as I get better at the movements themselves, because I do have the strength to do a lot of weight with them. I just need a lot of the technique. So you'll be seeing some slow motion in this video. I've been recording everything that I do in 60 frames per second, so even if I forget about that, then that's just the default recording setting that I have on now, so I'll have nice slow motion whenever I want it. So without any further dilly-dallying, let's get right into this video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is some of the adjustments I've made with cleans. The first adjustment that I have made is to move my grip back in a little bit, to put it somewhat where I would have it for a deadlift, but a little bit out, maybe like an inch out from where I would hold it with a deadlift. And I find that's a little bit more comfortable when I'm transitioning to get my elbows under. And I do it a little bit smoother when I have them a little bit closer with that. And that makes my feet have to move in a little bit more, but it just makes the motion look a little better for me and be a little bit more consistent when I'm doing a full clean with that. And it also makes doing front squats a little bit more comfortable when my hands are in a little bit more. I was letting them just kind of push out way more than what it was necessary for me, and it just made my elbow position more difficult to get into when I was doing cleans or hang cleans for that matter. So that's the first adjustment that I've been making with that. And the other one, well, the other two have been ones that apply to snatches as well, but I'm trying to, especially when I do cleans, because hang cleans I can get away with this a lot more, but catching the bar with my torso more vertical, I have a tendency to lean forward with that, and that's just how I squat and all that stuff, just because of how I'm built. But I have to kind of force myself to think about it a lot more, to kind of catch it vertical, because that allows me to catch it more consistently. Because if I forward, then the bar just kind of falls off me. With that, and with hang cleans I can get away with that a lot more, because you can kind of walk it off, or you can, catch your balance a lot easier, or at least I can. But for cleans, it's just, you just fail it if you don't do that with it. And the other adjustment has been trying to land in the same spot that I start with my feet, and that's a simple where I don't know, whatever materials on the ground at the gym that I'm at, whatever, I don't know, plastic materials on the floor, there's lines where there's different pieces, and I use those lines to kind of track where I'm jumping it, whether I'm going forward, back, or in the same spot. If anything, I'd rather go a little bit back, but if I go back at all, then I have a tendency just to miss the lift, because the bar is going to be ahead of me anyway. And that's part of the reason why I have a tendency to jump forward, is because I leave the bar out in front of me, and then I'd have to catch to get under it more. But as I get better at keeping the bar closer to me and kind of having a more efficient pull up into the second part of the pool, that I'm going to be more able to land in the same spot. And I've been found that having that line, that really helps me. And if I land in the same spot that I started and the bar is like way out in front of me, then I know I need to have a more efficient bar path and not try to go out and catch it so much. If I'm doing a max or something, then obviously I would, but obviously for training you want to have practice efficient movements and get the good motor patterns going and all of that sort of shenanigans. And I was going to break this video in two parts, but I'll just start talking about snatches right now, because it'll be easier just to make it one long clip. But for snatches, the focus has really been just that catching it in that bottom position. I find that with hang snatches, they're easier to catch, just like with hang cleans, because I can catch it forward. That's a tendency with that. So the big thing is to get my chest vertical as I'm catching it, especially in that bottom, because then I'm able to be a lot more balanced with that. And the same thing with cleans, with my feet position, trying to land in the same spot. So that allows me to be a lot more consistent with my movement. And some of the clean or the snatches that you'll see that I did yesterday from today is Sunday, so on Saturday, when I was doing a couple of them, my torso was pretty vertical. It was a little bit more vertical than I'd want, but I like that higher starting position, the same kind of similar starting position that I would have with cleans. It just allows me to get in that similar position that I would be at for a hang clean or a hang snatch. And I find that with whether it's a hang clean or hang snatch, I'm able to have a more efficient movement with that. And as I get that full thing, that's where I start getting a little herky-jerky and start throwing my back, and all my posterior chain into it, and while that has allowed me to get pretty good at cleans, it's something that just doesn't allow me to be very consistent at the movements, and it's just not the most efficient way to do the movements. And that's what I'm trying to get at right now, is to be as efficient as I can. So with both snatch work and clean work, I'm just trying to add in as much volume with it that I can handle. I supposedly have I think I have some clean work that I'm planning on doing today, but I don't know how much of it that I will do. Based on the program that I wrote, I was pretty aggressive with everything that I programmed in, and Olympic lifts I may have to just scale them back a little bit, and just continue to focus on the form, because I'm not worried about getting a ton of work in as far as like, you know, building muscle with cleans or anything like that. I just want to get really efficient at the movements, and if I'm just doing them to failure or while I'm really fatigued, then I'm just not going to be very proficient at the movements and not able to practice them in the way that I want. So I just have to continue to just make adjustments based on how I feel. And I think that as I get my like thighs and stuff get used to doing more higher rep squats, and I get less and less sore, I'll be able to add more and more of that stuff in. But thankfully that my IT band hasn't really been an issue. It's been a little tight, but nowhere near where it was before, and nowhere near where I have to worry about it that much. And I mean, it's as sore as any other joint will ever get with that. So hopefully that continues to be the case for that. If that starts to flare up again, then obviously Olympic lifts will have to be scaled back even further, as well as every other squat movement. But I'm hoping that I'm able to be smart about what I do as far as Olympic lifts and squat movements. I'm able to avoid re-aggravating that IT band or hip or whatever with that, and continue to strengthen that area, because that is something that I have been adding in, is some hip adduction and hip abduction. And just essentially, whether it's with a cable or with the machines that look really creepy, it's just where you push your legs out or squeeze them in, so it can work your groin or work your hips a little bit. And I find that doing a little bit of that I think has been helpful a little bit, and it's not going to hurt to have stronger, you know, little muscles in my hip and little muscles in my groin or in the hip flexor and all that area. So I think doing that more is going to help, and just being smart about my volume and not trying to drive myself on the ground is going to help a ton. But that's really about it that I have to talk about with this video. Yeah, so if you have any thoughts or comments about anything I talked about, or any recommendations about various things I talked about as well, please leave those down below. And as always, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.
Back home to you.